Hey everybody, it's the innards of a Cobra 2000. I've got the faceplate down and I'm working on, what can I do with these displays in here? Well, as you can see, these are 7-segment displays, individual 7-segment displays, with a couple of LEDs that do the time bit of it. So, that said, this, yeah, maybe, replace it with something. I've got some of these Hitachi displays. These are alphanumeric, and this would fit in the spot, but there's more room, so I have to see if I can't get a larger one like this. I think you can. It's just a matter of making a board to put this display on and move on. The problem with these is that they have the controllers are quite literally stuffed on the back and epoxied over, so I don't know. I'm probably gonna have a little bit of trouble getting a display that's gonna mount in here exactly, but I'll have to try to work that out. Biggest problem is this display. Now this one is of course the same, I believe it is the same as those two. I'm just looking at the numbers on the side, and yeah, these are the same as the ones that are in the counter. So the problem with this is, just try to shed some light on the situation here, is that it's recessed a little bit in there. That's not a big deal. We've got 5 regular incandescent bulbs. You got one for each mode, and then you've got transmit receive. So that matches up with these tunnels here. Now, replacing this display is going to be interesting because those tunnels, well, as you can see, they kind of take up a lot of room. I have a feeling that this is going to require some rather invasive modification. Now, the lens that's in here, I'm sure that can just be popped out and replaced with something else. And this, I basically what I'm getting at is I don't think that this is really going to be you're not going to fit anything in here. It's just simply too tight. The display that would fit in there is like one of these, and this is a 1.3 inch display, and the glass area, I mean, it will fit in there. You can see it just barely. But the ribbon that's going to come out of that, mind you, you can get these displays without the board. This just, I have a lot of them with the board just because it makes things simpler. But I've gotten them without the board and used them before. That flat flex that's back there is just a, direct solder to board type. Now the issue is that ribbon is going to be like a straight 90 right out of it. So while it would work and you could get it in there, the width is okay because it's, the viewable area is slightly inside. So it's actually, it's perfect. But mounting it in there is going to be extremely problematic. I don't think it's gonna, and I don't mean with this board, I mean this display, gluing this display, because it's got a pad on the back. You glue it down to the board. You have your passives on the back, and then your connector and all that. You could do it, and I have to think about it. But that 90 coming right off the display, coming right off of there like that, I don't know that I like that very much. So yeah, that's the part of it I don't like, is having that ribbon running a straight 90 right off the edge of that glass. I don't think it's very healthy for it, but I'll get one. I don't have any without the board. I use those all up on things. I get a board made, and I, to use it in a custom application, but usually I try to have the cable bent a little bit more, like these ones are. I didn't make these. These are, you buy them like this. But yeah, I think that the bend radius, and that's just a little bit too much. But in theory it would work. And then, of course, you're never going to mount it in here where the old display is. And that's just not in the cards. So, you know, it's going to become it's going to have to be hot snotted to this. I mean, that's the reality. I suppose you could maybe work out some standoffs, and the standoffs would screw to this, and then you know, you would mount it in here, which I guess would work too. But that board's going to have to be really thin. You know, so let's see here. I got my handy Dave Jones rule. These displays are, what are they, like 18-ish millimeters high? And this area in here is, can't get a good angle on it, but you can see that it's greater than 20. It's probably 22 or 23 millimeters. So there's some wiggle room, you know. But I don't know. That's one of the reasons why having actually one of these radios in front of me, I can try to work out the mounting details like this. Now the other fairly aggressive mod that can be done here is quite simply cut this out, pop this lens out, which I believe is a red, yeah, it's a red colored lens. Get another one, because it has stuff silk screened on it on the bottom end. So cut this whole thing out, and get a display, a color display like this that would fit in here, and take up pretty much that whole area. I just am trying to figure out what's you know, what's good. Now this front bezel isn't in the best of shape. It had a fairly wicked crack running down the one side of it, that I just sort of hot snotted, which, you know, it's very rigid now. I use some of that really high temperature stuff, so that's all good. That's actually probably just as solid as over here. That's probably just as solid as it would have been if it was not cracked, so that's fine. I gotta fix that standoff over here too, the thing that mounts this part of it in here. You know, fairly common issues with a radio of this vintage is these bezels getting broken, or people doing crazy crap. Like if you look down in there, I don't know how well that's going to come out down here, where somebody's drilled a hole through the thing and for that stupid knob. And you got these up here. The good thing about those is that you can cover those up with you can buy new aluminum plates that go on the front of these, and that are, you know, silk screened and whatnot. So it's all right. This is not really a cosmetic venture, as it so much as an experiment, you know, in trying to retrofit other displays into it. And you know, with a little bit of luck, I may be able to do that. The S meters I'll probably just leave be, and the reason for that is, even though there's a ton of room there for me to experiment with the S meters and the modulation and SWR meter here is, I like analog meters personally. I think they tell more of the truth than a digital meter, but that's me. And then other repairs done to this thing. Counter module's closed again. I did find the problem. I do have the schematic here. I don't know how well this is going to get seen on the camera, so bear with me while I get a pointing instrument of sorts. Well, this will work. Alright, so this is the 35 megahertz that comes in from the VCO, and this is the 7.8 carrier oscillator, 7.8 megahertz. There was a break here. So if you measured voltage on the drain, you had zip. The gate had zip, obviously. And you know, we're this transformer, we were fine here. There was a break here. It's the counter's old, and somebody had been in there tinkering around with it, and you know, they just sort of bungled up the traces. So no 7.8 megahertz means malfunctions. So, which is why it worked on AM receive. So yeah. That said, so and once you fix that, everything's good. There's some mods to this to improve things, and I think that those have been done, but I wasn't going to fiddle around with it because I'm not entirely sure that this counter module is going to get kept. I have a feeling that I'll probably try to replace these 7-segment displays with something else anyway, so counter module is probably a good rebuild item, of course, and move on. And see the old dome tact switches that they use in here, nice big chunky ones. You can still get these, fortunately, and these ones are still just fine. These switches, I don't know, these things can be repurposed, so for a display, like you can repurpose all of these for different functions. These ones, yeah, I mean, you can use these things, to do other functions. Like if I change this out and interface with a microcontroller, and these can be used for altering things, and these can be used for setting things. So, there's actually a lot of potential in this, for other things. So that's kind of why I want to fiddle around with this side. I think more so than this side. Because if I can fiddle around with this side and find something that'll work in here, I won't care about mucking with this display. I'll leave that be and have everything over here. Again, this is an experiment and all that kind of good stuff. So in other mods, the glue that was back here, of course, it's all gone now. You can see still some glue on the VCO chip. I just didn't get to scraping it out, but I scraped it all out of here. Changed this cap, changed this cap, changed this cap. Got more to change, but just to get things so that the radio didn't die, because this over here, it was bad over here, and it was bad in here too. This inductor that was burned up, that's over here, fortunately for me, I do often wind my own inductors, so all I was able to do with that one is just simply to rewind it. So that's why it's not, covered in heat shrink like the other one. So, yeah, I mean, all you need to rewind your own inductors is some wire. And I've got tons of it in all different gauges, because I make a lot of times my own transformers and my own inductors. So, that was a, piece of piss, no worries. This over here is a little questionable. It's got some of that gunk in it. I may rewind this one because I'm, not too thrilled with this little transformer down here. It may have corroded a little bit. This radio has output, but it is low, and which is one of the reasons why I changed this inductor or rewound it, is because while it has low output, there's a lot of different reasons for that. These inductors are to prevent RF from backfeeding into the power supply. When this inductor was burned up, it's essentially a short, okay, because all the enamel burns off of these windings, and then of course it's just, a glorified, 0.3 ohm resistor or something. So hence rewinding it, which of course improved the output stage quite significantly, actually, because if these things are burned up, you must replace them. They'll cause you problems. So, in this case, this one was burned up, so no big deal. It takes, an inductor like that takes absolutely no time to rewind. What you do is, if you can, when I was able to do it with this one, is you take the wire off of it. You desolder the ends. You pull off the ends, and then you unwind it, and you pull it out, and you measure it, and then you cut your new piece of wire to that same length and just wind it on. Easy to do. So now transformers, of course, are a little bit more difficult. And it's the same with these. Now, if you burn up one of these, you got a bad problem, but you can do the same thing here. You just got to get the diameter right, and that's you know, really not that difficult. You know, you measure it before you, you know, you measure it before you pull it up, you know, pull it apart to measure it, and then you just wind you another one around a form the same diameter. So, you know, inductors are easy to do. Now, if it's cracked, the ferrite is cracked, well, you can't obviously reuse it. You can't glue it either. So if somebody's saying, "Oh, I'll just glue it," no, you can't. So if your ferrite's cracked, then just get another inductor. I didn't have an inductor beefy enough, so hence rewinding it. Got more caps to replace in here. But other than that, it is working, and it's not going to have imminent death because of all the gunk that was back here. It was especially bad in here. This resistor was over the top of this ferrite bead and wire, which is still corroded a little bit. I got to take a fiberglass brush to that, try to clean that up, stop the corrosion. But it was bent down over it, and then it had that gunk. So what is that doing? That's sitting there corroding this lead and corroding this lead, and they're going to be corroded together before long, and then you got to short it, and then you got problems. So that's why it's important to get rid of that glue. So that said, if anybody has any suggestions on the displays, or since this cabinet, again, this bezel isn't in the best of shape, so I don't know that I mind a whole lot about grinding up this front. You know, in the name of experimentation, especially if I can replace it with a nice color TFT display, you know, right in there. Now, getting a touch TFT, which is possible, and I've done touch TFT stuff before. Atmel's got microcontrollers with touch controls in them. I don't know about all that. I think that one's going to be, I've done it, but I think that might be overkill. Touch screen on a little tiny screen like that, yeah, can be done, but I don't know. So anyway, that's pretty much all there is on the Cobra 2000. Now, another thing of note is the channel mod in here. Now, this isn't terrible. I mean, the way they did this, it's not terrible. On the underside, it's actually, you know, this I don't mind a whole lot. I don't like the switches because I don't like the way it's done where it is. But whoever did it wasn't a complete idiot, you know. Everything's neat. It's neat is what I'm getting at. It's neat. So I don't have a problem with it. It was neatly done. It was neatly done and affixed to the bottom of the PLL. It was well done. I don't know that the switch placement was optimal, but it was well done. So kudos to somebody who actually has soldering skills. But anyway, I digress. That's basically it as far as an update's concerned. Got more caps to replace, got more research to do on these displays, and when I've done all that, I will report back. So catch you guys next time.